Back at it with Boston has entered the chat, and as promised, Dan Curran joins the show, head coach of the Holy Cross football program. Coach, how's it going?
It's doing great. Appreciate you guys having me this morning.
We are very psyched to talk with you, but we got to start with the exciting part, the legendary part. You guys are going to be playing football in Fenway on November 22nd. How did this come about? How much are you guys looking forward to being able to be on such a, let's say, sacred grounds and play football?
Well, it's an incredible opportunity, really, for our entire program, our student athletes, our coaching staff, our student body, and obviously our alumni as well. And I think it takes on a different type of significance for the young men that grew up in New England too. I know myself included, having an opportunity to go into games when I was a young kid. So incredible opportunity. Our athletic director, Kit Hughes, and our administration, I think, has been working hard at this over the last couple of years to get us involved, in the opportunity to go play at Fenway and to do it, against a program, a school like Georgetown that's also a national brand. I think it's a really great opportunity for both schools and one that we're excited about.
Coach, I know obviously you want to build some momentum going into this game. What are you preaching to your team right now? Team's been struggling so far this season. Big one this weekend on the road against Lehigh. How are you trying to sort of right the ship here so you can go into Fenway with a little momentum, a little juice?
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, the season hasn't gone the way we had hoped for and envisioned at the beginning of the year. You look back to the 2024 year when we won a piece of the Patriot League championship, so we had high expectations. We knew coming into the year there was going to be a couple critical areas where we had some guys going to have to learn on the fly, in some spots, particularly on offense. And there was no training wheels games. We probably played what is probably the most difficult schedule in New England. And obviously we needed to find a way to speed up that development in a couple of those spots. The good news is this has been a resilient bunch. You look at, the record, it is what it is. We all have an ownership stake in it, and we all got to find a way to continue to get better. But this group has given themselves an opportunity to win each and every week. For the exception of the Harvard game, we struggled with some turnovers. So we know we can play with anybody. A couple of those areas that we're struggling early in the area on offense have continued to improve. And we're excited about the opportunity in front of us this week, playing against the number 4 ranked team in the country in Lehigh.
Coach, you're from the area. Tell us all how you grew up and what does it mean to you personally to get a chance to coach in Fenway?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I grew up in Chelmsford, Massachusetts, suburb, about 35 minutes northwest of Boston, right next to Lowell, Mass. And, like a lot of young kids that grew up in the area, I grew up a diehard Red Sox fan, and remember those challenging years. I remember the 86 year and obviously those early 2000s when they turned the corner. So a place that's got so much history and a ballpark that's so unique in so many ways. To have the opportunity to go play there again against a national brand like Georgetown is such a cool opportunity for really our entire program and our entire Holy Cross community.
I feel like it's always something special when a coach has their own particular player journey and then they can pull things from their path and kind of implement it into their program. What are some things from your playing journey that you make sure is established in your culture as a head coach right now? Because you mentioned they're a resilient group and you have to have the right cadence. You have to have the right delivery to make sure that the buy-in stays present, but more importantly, that there's something to look forward to always.
No question. Well, I think at the end of the day, whatever your program's culture, that you claim that it is, and whatever your program's identity is, you better be able to, turn on the film and go to a game on Saturday. You better be able to see it. And if you don't, then at the end of the day, it's just words that you put on the back of a T-shirt or you put up in a locker room. And, we talk all the time about what it means to be Seder tough. And it's not just the traditional sense of being physically tough, but being mentally tough and being resilient, being a bunch of guys that are great competitors that love the game. And being guys that embrace being a great teammate. And to me, all those things expose themselves much greater when things are challenging. And, we built this program around that because we have a really good foundation. It's a big reason we had success last year and a big reason why we're going to have success moving forward. We have a really talented young nucleus. We got a great group of older guys that have done a great job of leading in some challenging times. And that's going to obviously lead to a breakthrough here very soon. And we're excited about, obviously, not only Fenway, but about the opportunity in front of us this weekend against a really talented Lehigh team.
Case, I mean, he's being humble. Do you see those traps? Like
I was waiting to see when we pull the fullback conversation into the chat, just so you know.
He could still play now. Yeah. He could play in Fenway and light these kids up. In fact, Coach, are you getting after it in the weight room with your players? Or are you going all Bruce Wayne on me and lifting weights solo in the back cave?
What's going on here? We see Vrabel getting involved with the Patriots.
What's going on here, Coach?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. At the end of the day, unfortunately, those days are over. I love the game, and obviously, I don't have a lot of hobbies outside of my family and football. I love to compete and have an opportunity to jump in there with my players. Sometimes is obviously a great way to bond with those guys, and I still love to compete, and that's a way for me to be able to do that. In addition to obviously coaching this football team, so I think it's great for the program that our staff is. A lot of those guys are like that as well, and it creates a different kind of bond with your players. And I try and fight the good fight. I may not be able to do it every snap, but I could probably give you a couple inside zones on third and short. So
I believe it. I believe it, Coach. Let me ask you this, because there's some young studs out there watching this right now, watching this interview and trying to decide where they want to go to college. What are you looking for? Like, give me the Holy Cross player profile that you seek. What are you looking for in kids that you bring in? What are they going to get playing for your program?
Well, I think first and foremost, you got to get kids that value education. We're a high academic school, so having kids that are good students versus families that value education, those are two different things. We want individuals, obviously, that don't just like football, but love it. And you can see that with the kids in our program, the way they attack and compete every single day, regardless of what's going on around them. We want kids that obviously at the end of the day value community too. And that's a big part of what we have here at Holy Cross is an incredible community. That's got to be an important piece. And we want individuals that are focused on the right things. We talked about being what Seder Tough is. Like, I want kids that take ownership in their performance, that want to compete every single day, want to be great teammates when things are good and things are bad. And those are things that are really critical in the recruiting process when we're looking for student athletes, not just kids that have great transcripts that have to be really good at football. The piece for us and what we can provide a young man and their family, I think number one, you're going to get a world-class education. You're going to have an opportunity to have unbelievable career opportunities after football. And you look at with our 90-wide program and our alumni group and what they're able to do for these kids and the networking opportunities they can provide, it's unbelievable. And I don't think I've ever seen anything like it anywhere else, including some of our peer institutions. I think the other piece that you're going to get is development. This coaching staff has had a lot of guys that have developed players that have moved on and played at the next level. This program has done that as well. We have 5 guys right now currently in the NFL. So the opportunity to develop and play football at the highest level is very much a real thing here. And I think you talk about a place that's got an unbelievable track record of success in a winning tradition here, and a bunch of coaches that have that as well. So the ability to get a great education with opportunities after football is tremendous here. The ability to get developed and play football at the next level is really, really something that we have a track record of doing that here at a high level. And I think obviously the opportunity to win and be successful. And I think the last piece I mentioned earlier is this is such an amazing community, and you have to get the right type of kid, a kid that's going to be a fit for Holy Cross. And because we have that here and we do it right on the front end of the recruiting process, we have a bunch of kids that care about one another, that are invested in what we're doing here, not just in their own success. So that's not only going to allow you to be successful during your time here at Holy Cross, I think it's going to enhance your experience, being a part of something bigger than yourself. And we're very proud of that here. And it's something that's going to be a really important piece of it moving forward for our program.
Yeah, that's tremendous. I think it just helps prevent feeling claustrophobic when it comes to life decisions. And we see a lot of that paralysis for athletes who think that they only have one option and one out, and encouraging the education is tremendous. You talk about development being a part of the program. You played fullback. I just have to know, what adjustments have you had to make seeing the NFL landscape kind of change? Because as a girl who grew up in an era where fullbacks were very much key and pillar to their teams, and the 49ers are like the only team that still kind of rosters a fullback. How have you had to kind of adjust your perspective along with coaching and developing kids as certain things have changed in the NFL over the years?
Well, I think the biggest thing that as a coach you have to do on a staff, you got to make sure that you may have some sort of a philosophy or an identity that you want for your offense, your defense, and your special teams. But it's really important year to year to build your scheme around your personnel. The game has changed. I grew up as a tailback, played tailback in high school, played tailback in college at the University of Hampshire. At the next level, they don't really give you much of a choice. If you want to get paid, you go where they tell you to go. So I moved to fullback at the professional level. It was a great experience for me. But to me, it's about getting the right kids and the right competitors in the program, and then building your system around what you have personnel-wise. So that could look different year to year, depending on your offensive linemen, the skill set of your skill guys. Obviously, your quarterback is a really important piece. You see the teams in the NFL that have success. They do a good job building around what their quarterback does really well as they're developing them on things that maybe they're not a strong suit for them. So I think it's so important to continue to adapt, not just with what's going on with the football landscape and the college game and the NFL, but currently with what your personnel is in your team on any given year.
Coach, I want to piggyback off you, the player, because I have a lot of respect for the Arena League. Parts of my career, I covered Arena League football, and I know you also sniffed around the NFL as well. Do you have any memories you can share with us that are family-friendly, Coach, from your playing days that you could get into, that you remember and kind of have fond memories of?
No, I think one of the ones, I guess, from a New England roots standpoint, at that time when I was playing, the AFL was actually owned and operated by the NFL. The NFLPA was part of our representation. There was a different time, and I think we were on NBC and ESPN, and I was part of the Saints organization, both as a player and with the Saints AFL team, and we were playing the Philadelphia Soul in a game. At that time, they were partially owned by the Eagles, Jaworski, and John Bon Jovi, who happens to be very good friends with Bill Belichick. So I know when we opened up at their place in 2004, it was an NBC game, and Bill Belichick, obviously, and Bon Jovi, they were actually in the stands at the game, and had an opportunity to meet those guys after the game. So we came out with the win that year, which was awesome. And then obviously my experience in Seattle, having an opportunity to be a part of that roster, and when Coach Holmgren was there, who's a legendary coach and a guy that's been part of some unbelievable organizations, both with Seattle and obviously, as you know, with the San Francisco 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. So great experience for me. Have the opportunity to spend time in an NFL roster and get a chance to play football for a living for really almost a decade. So very appreciative of those times and learned a lot, met a lot of great people, and certainly an experience I wouldn't trade for anything.
I don't think you can top a story that has Bon Jovi in it, but I'll try. I'll follow that up with, are there any coaches that you look up to in terms of like philosophy or like to learn from or to implement into your program moving forward?
Well, I think there's things you got to pick and choose from everybody. I think it's one of those things where you look and some of it can be schematic. I think the best coaches, they always say the best coaches are taking things from everybody. If you're only doing things that you've built within your own system, I think Kenny Dillingham said it the other day, you're probably not very good. So we're always constantly looking to improve and adapt and build around our personnel, but look at some different ideas that other people are doing and apply it to what we're doing. So, there's things, I think Sean McDonald had a huge influence on me. He's a legend in New England. He was my head coach at the University of New Hampshire, and obviously a tremendous human being and a great leader. And, I think the two things he's told me when I first got into coaching and became a head coach at Merrimack was number one, be yourself, because it's going to resonate with your student athletes. If you try and be someone else you're not, they're going to see right through it. And the other thing I think he told us is schematics to the side. The most important thing you can do is get your players to play hard for you and for one another. That's something I'm trying to obviously pride myself on during my coaching career. And Coach Mack's been a big influence on me. And I think Chip Kelly's another one. He was the big reason I went to the University of New Hampshire. He recruited me out of high school. He was the offensive coordinator there at the time. And again, going back to the ability to adapt and be innovative and continue to change and build around your personnel, kind of not get stuck in whatever you've always done, and always be willing to learn. That's a big part of that comes from him and spending time under him as a student athlete, and really appreciate both those individuals. And there's a number of other people that have had an impact as well. Really fortunate to be around some really good coaches during my time.
Man, Coach, last one for me. You're talking local so much. November 22nd, Holy Cross at Fenway. The game is on Nesson. I have to imagine Nesson means a lot to you, too. I mean, growing up here, that's got to be a fabric of your entire life in terms of a network, right, Coach?
No question. I remember, having the opportunity to play on Nesson, during my time at the University of New Hampshire. I think we played UMass a couple of times in some really good back and forth battles. But for me, it even dates back further than that. Being a young kid, I was the youngest of 5 kids in my family, and my older brother Sean was a diehard Bruins fan. So, I think we watched every single game on Nesson every night. And I grew up playing hockey as well, but I'm not going to lie to you. I had sometimes when you're a little kid, you want to watch like the A-Team or something else. I know I'm dating myself right now, but I definitely was watching a lot of Nesson games back in the day during the Cam Neely, Craig Janney years. And honestly, I have great memories of that, watching those games with my brothers.
Yeah, B.A. Baracus would be proud of you right now, Coach.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. That is tremendous. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. We are all rooting for you over at Holy Cross, and we cannot wait to see you take on Georgetown on November 22nd at Fenway. And we hope to have you back here on Nesson very soon.